Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Welcome back, beautiful souls, to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I am your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. I work with a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, tarology, astrology, and numerology to decipher your soul contract and find out what you incarnated here to do. On today's episode, per request from a lot of you, we are going to be diving into Erica Kirk's soul contract. I don't know what I expected to see in her chart when I initially looked it up. I don't remember why I did, but I was not expecting what I found. When I saw Charlie Kirk's soul contract, it was a little bit underwhelming. There were some programs that I was like, okay, that's expected. But it was very underwhelming, and I didn't understand why. But then I took a look at Erica Kirk's soul contract, and it blew me away. It was absolutely insane. My eyes just started darting like all throughout all of her programs. I felt so overwhelmed with all the energy that was there and all of the very extreme and conflicting almost programs that she had, that I had to share it. I had to talk about it. I had to say what kind of red flags I was seeing because it was intense. It was intense to say the least. And I cannot wait to get into this soul contract with you guys and give you a play-by-play of what it is that I saw, because I understood after seeing it that she is a much bigger player in this whole Turning Point USA thing than we could have predicted. Had posted about this on Threads. I wonder if I should read you guys the thread that kind of blew up and everybody was like, oh, I totally knew it. Something was very off about her. I definitely got weird vibes from the video that she put out after Charlie Kirk's death, where it was almost inciting violence. It was almost inciting a civil war. Like, she seemed very, very angry, and it was a little bit terrifying. And I'm going to try my best not to go into the politics of it all, because I feel that just sows more division. And I want you guys to be very, very wary of people that play on that play on politics, that seek to divide people further. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be mad about the state of the world and how it's being handled, how the powers that be in our country are handling things. And it's important to speak about it. It's important to discuss what exactly we see that is going wrong. However, as soon as you start making it an us versus them kind of thing, you are accruing karma because you are sowing more division. You are making it kind of a situation where you're pouring oil on the dumpster fire. It's not going to make anything better. The more united we are, the more we work together to solve the issues that we have as a nation, as a species, the more we can evolve as consciousness. So that was my little spiel for today. I am going to dive into Erica Kirk's contract now. I don't know what it is about people born in November, but I feel they carry some of the energy of the number 4. It's just very similar. It's very similar. And I don't mean to hate on Scorpios, because I love Scorpios. They're so passionate and they get a lot of hate. And I feel that it's just because they're known for being extreme. They're known for being either extremely like hot and cold or passionate about what it is they do. And I'm all about that. I'm all for it. It's just when the extremes violent or turn into inciting violence that things start to feel a little bit karmically heavy. And that is one of the numbers that Erica Kirk has in her personality right off the bat. We see the numbers 11 for the month of November and 20 for the day that she was born. Erica Kirk was born November 20th, 1988. I feel like I should have prefaced that. And when it comes to the number 11, the number 11 carries a lot of strength behind it that can manifest in very different ways. It could be physical strength. This could be somebody that's a great athlete. It could be strength of character or resolve, or even strength of communication. They could do very well in public speaking and communicating their thoughts, their ideas with others. This is not the energy of somebody that messes around. This is somebody that knows how to work hard for what they want. They're always busy. They stay busy to the point that they don't have time to rest. They don't have time to catch a break. They like to keep their schedule as packed as possible. They may be passionate about anything that involves a lot of movement, like sports, dance, or being a sports instructor, being a coach. They just naturally have a lower level of pain sensitivity. So they have a high pain tolerance. And this makes them seem like they are invincible. And this also makes me want to look up all of the fighters, all of the wrestlers and boxers and UFC fighters that have 11 in their charts to see if they have really good chins on them. Because there are some UFC fighters, no matter how hard they're getting hit, they're smiling. It doesn't phase them. This is the level that we're talking about. There's really a huge amount of strength, resolve, and lower pain sensitivity. So they don't really care that you're punching them in the face. They're just going to punch right back. They enjoy it. When it comes to being offered positions of leadership, these people will take it. They would be very good at being responsible, being a leader, finding solutions for really complicated issues, and taking care of the people in their company. The negative side of 11 kind of reminds me of the saying, with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility. If a person that has that kind of power, that has that kind of ability to communicate, to influence, they also have the potential to use that influence for harm. They could behave aggressively, arrogantly, incite conflicts. They can overwork themselves to the point of exhaustion, to the point of exhausting their body with excessive training if they're an athlete. When they're misaligned, when they're operating from the negative, they do not know how to relax. They don't know how to chill. It feels like they're so fired up all the time, so energized all the time. It takes a long time for them to kind of wind down. And this reminds me of my toddlers. When they get overexcited, especially before bedtime, it's really difficult to get them to wind down and remind them that, okay, we have to calm down. We have to get in bed now and brush our teeth, and they're still bouncing off the walls. When they're misaligned, they have an inability to manage their bursts of energy, their bursts of emotions, and they will either live in the future or in the past. If they're in the past, they're replaying a bunch of stuff that happened in the past. If they're in the future, they're worried about how to get to so-and-so point. They aren't able to stay in the present. They aren't able to focus on what's here and now. And there is also a risk of excessive control over their loved ones and a desire to kind of force them to live at your pace, force them to do everything on your time, on your schedule. And because the number 11 is so energetic, so powerful and strong and go, go, go all the time, they expect you to be that way too. If they're running from the negative, if they're misaligned, they expect you to be able to catch up to them. And they might be the type of managers or micromanagers that will be like, no breaks, no time to dilly-dally. Why are you standing around? You should be doing this and this and this. They get very, very finicky and develop an intolerance for anything that appears as weakness or laziness. So that's what we are starting off with in the number 11. The number 20 indicates strong relationships with family, a very deep connection to family. This is somebody that's very family oriented and has the ability of bringing people together and restoring family connections. So, this is the person in your family that is always hosting Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the holidays, and they're trying to keep the peace. When the person with the number 20 is aligned, they have a very high developed intuition and an interest in everything secret and unknown, esoteric, mystical. This person also has a very well developed intellect. They're also good at pattern recognition, which is probably why they're good at reconnecting family together because they see certain patterns and cycles playing out. And they have the ability to be like, okay, here's how we heal them. Here is how we move on from them. Let's all be friends. People with the number 20 have a tendency of trying to bend people to their will in a quite aggressive way, in a very impatient and borderline disrespectful way towards whoever they are trying to bend. This person has a propensity of categorizing everything into boxes, criticizing people, and considering themselves as the epitome of moral standards. They feel like people should live the way they live according to their example. And there's a lot of arrogance in that. And this may make them stop communicating with loved ones that don't share these same values, that don't share these same ideas, which is a running theme in anybody that leans extremely right or extremely left or extremely into one direction of a political party. Number 20s, when they're misaligned, also have an excessive desire for material things and a fixation on financial opportunities that may negatively impact their character. If they start to seek that, it may put a strain on their relationship with their loved ones, with their family, especially if their family kind of starts to be like, hey, you have missed the point. Like you're missing the point. You're losing sight of your values, of your belief system. Then the misaligned 20 is not going to like hearing that and is going to shut them out. The weakness of this combination of numbers is that with their intellect and charm, there is a very large likelihood that they can use these abilities to manipulate others. People with 11 and 20s do not handle betrayal very well or unfair treatment towards themselves. And this gives me a little insight into the animosity that we saw in Erica Kirk. It is because she feels betrayed. I fear she feels betrayed by what happened to Charlie and is kind of having a very strong reaction to it, which is predicted in her soul contract. It says that when betrayed, when they feel that they have been treated unfairly, they have explosive reactions. This could lead to them being uncompromising and harsh. As a result, a person with this kind of high energy manifests conflicts, confrontation. So that's kind of getting a glimpse into who she is as a person. Next, we are going to look at her previous life. Now, I do want to mention that when I am reading people's soul contracts of celebrities or famous people, I'm not going into their Akashic records. I am accessing their energy field and picking up on intuitive messages as I do so, but I make it a point not to go into their Akashic records because I feel it's deeply personal. So when you hear me talking about their past lives, I'm only talking about the numerology found in their past lives and not actually accessing these past lives. I make it a point to say this because I recently had a conversation where somebody was asking me, how is it ethical to look into the soul contracts of these people when you don't have their permission, of famous people when you don't have their permission? And this is something that I actually learned from Gabby from the Spiritual Sisters podcast very early on in my journey. And she applies this principle to her work as an astrologer. When people incarnate into lifetimes where they are going to be famous figures, public figures, or historical figures, they do so consciously. They know the influence they are going to have, the power they are going to have. With that power and influence comes responsibility. And you are allowing yourself to be open energetically to them to some degree. Just like musicians feed off the energy in auditoriums and crowds, athletes feed off of the energy in stadiums, the collective can feel your energy. And this is kind of the trade-off of when you get famous. If you get famous, your information, your life is on the internet. It's on a much broader scale now that we have an internet and people can look up anything they want to know about you. But the idea is that it comes with the territory. People know your date of birth. They can look up your birth chart, your astrological chart, your human design, and your soul contract. They cannot get into the nitty gritty of it, and it's not ethical to get into the nitty gritty of their soul contract without their permission. So when you see me looking into past lives, I'm not accessing their Akash. I'm getting a very surface level reading of their numerology and telling me what the numbers mean. However, even surface level soul contracts are insanely detailed. And I think that this is very intentional so that we can learn from them, so that we can learn from historical figures, celebrities, public figures, and see how this karma that is found in their soul contract plays out in real life. It's something that I immediately did as soon as I got my soul contract. I was like, oh my God, I need to learn this ASAP. I bought the course. I'm like, I'm signed up. I'm all in on this because I've been waiting for something like this my entire life. I signed up and then I immediately started looking at celebs that have the same programs, the same numerology I do, so I can better understand how it's going to manifest in my life. Without further ado, the numerology that is in Erica Kirk's past life is 18, 3, 12. The combination of those numbers indicates that in a past life, she had a very, very limited mobility, like limited freedom or severely restricted kind of lifetime. This can be a physical restriction. This can be a body that was disabled. She may have been in a wheelchair. She may have not had certain limbs, or she may have battled with bad health, with health issues her entire life that really kept her limited in what it is that she could accomplish in that lifetime. And from what I have found, usually people that sign up for a lifetime like that, they do so consciously to clear out karma. Usually, these kind of lifetimes are really, really deep karmic work because it forces you to sit with yourself. It forces you to learn the spiritual lessons that you need to learn for your soul to evolve. However, the opposite could happen where a person absolutely refuses to evolve, absolutely refuses to take anything away from it other than anger, other than resentment, other than being mad at the world. And this is how it manifested in Erica Kirk's past life. She had this resentment that she was holding in. She was extremely dissatisfied with her fate. And there was so much physical suffering that she couldn't get to that place where she's like, okay, what am I meant to learn here? What is this meant to teach me? How does this manifest in her current incarnation? There is the same theme running. There's a connection between this past life and her present life that manifests as fear of injury, fear of disability. This is not a person that is throwing caution to the wind and doing extreme sports, doing things that are dangerous, doing things that are risky. This is someone that is extremely cautious. And she has like a weird complex when other people are sick or in pain, it's almost like she doesn't know how to process it. It doesn't like compute for her. So on one side, you have a person that is very cautious, is not going to be likely to be the person that swims in the ocean at night. This can also manifest as the complete opposite extreme. So there is one extreme of being overly cautious, overly terrified of doing anything that's remotely dangerous, to doing all of the dangerous things, being an adrenaline junkie, and taking huge, huge risks with their well-being, with their health, with their safety. Risks that are not smart, are a gamble at best. And taking that approach could be from her desire to experience everything that she couldn't experience in a previous life due to her limitations, due to her failing health or disability. When it comes to her approach to life, her strategy is one of suffering. When misaligned, this is a person that loves to live in the victim mentality, loves to kind of be a martyr, and seeks to help others, often from a place where she doesn't have the ability to do so, meaning that she needs help. Say, for instance, you're suffering, like your mental health is really bad. And instead of going to therapy, instead of seeking out professional help, this is a person that's like, you know what? I'm just going to go and help other people. I'm going to go and help other people with their mental health because it's easier to focus on other people's problems and find solutions for other people than it is for yourself, than it is to do the inner work yourself. So she tends to help others when she has little to give them because she needs help herself. Signs this is playing out: victim mentality, a lack of empathy for other people's suffering, a willingness to help others in absence of resource, seeking compassion, having relationships where she feels that she needs to be saved, fear of sickness, death, or being disabled, and being irritated when somebody else is sick. Now, here is where things get interesting. So we are now going to be looking at her subconscious programs. And for those of you that haven't heard me speak to this before, subconscious programs are various limiting beliefs, thought patterns, or gifts of fate that you have taken on in this lifetime that appear in various stages. They can appear in your childhood, they can appear in adulthood, they can appear later on in life. In regards to Erica Kirk's soul contract, this is when the red flags started popping up because I didn't know what to make of all of the conflicting energy that was happening here. And I posted on my Instagram story. I'm like, it felt like I was being electrocuted. There was so much going on. There was only one other soul contract that I've ever done that was so overwhelming. But even then, this didn't even hold a candle to that. It felt like kind of the electric shock that fries the whole power grid in a house and all of the lights go out because it was just so much energy. And it makes sense, again, because Erica has that power from the number 11 in her chart. She has a lot of energy. She's a very high energy person. But all of this stuff in her contract makes me feel like something is going on. Something is going on. I'm hoping that by the end of this episode, I'm going to be able to figure out what it is, but I don't like the looks of it. I'm going to stop talking now and actually tell you guys the programs that are here. The first subconscious program we have is the High Spiritual Unification Mission. This is a good program. This is the best program that you can, one of the best programs that you can have, because this is about uniting others towards a common cause. This is about expanding consciousness, helping us not divide ourselves and war with ourselves, because we are all one. We are all on the same team. Even though we look different, talk different, have different languages, believe different things, we're the same species. And the sooner we figure that out, the better. Again, I'm preaching a little bit, but sorry. It's a beautiful program, which all the more makes me wonder what on earth is going on that Erica Kirk is deciding to go guns blazing into inciting civil war when she's supposed to be uniting people and being like, hey, there's good and bad on both sides. There's good and bad about both things. How about we figure out how to fix this instead of start fighting? So that threw me off because it doesn't match with what's currently happening in reality. She is not acting from an aligned place. And anybody that sows division, anybody that incites violence is not acting from an aligned place. The next subconscious program we see for her is one of being an excellent actor or actress. This is the program that I see in some of the best actors and actresses in the world, like Oscar-worthy stuff. This lets me know that she is excellent at putting on a front. This made me uncomfortable immediately because there's the chance that this is a game of manipulation, that there's manipulation going on, that this is a show, that she's good at putting on shows. This is red flag number 1. Red flag number 2. I feel like there's only red flags from here on out. I feel like there was like one good program and the rest is like, oh dear Lord. So buckle up, guys. She has the hostage program. This is the program of somebody who lives a relatively prosperous life, check, and becomes accustomed to it, check. Failing to appreciate what they have, such as wealth, health, loved ones, work, they might even start to complain or express dissatisfaction with the way they're living. It is at this point that fate intervenes and puts them in a situation where they may lose something very important to them, or even everything. This is in an effort to force them to live with some constraints. So all of a sudden, this person finds themselves in a situation that is completely out of their control, and they are left at the mercy of, I kid you not, this is exactly word for word what this says, of people that turn out to be cruel, violent, attempting to oppress them. I feel like I can make a political statement here. I'm going to choose not to. I will leave that to your imagination. Here is where this hostage program gets a little scary because this literally talks about being in a kind of hostage situation, a situation where you are not free to come and go as you please. I see this manifesting kind of as like security. Maybe they're going to be worried for Erica Kirk's safety. So her security is going to keep her on lockdown or under tight rules. The hostage program also speaks to being in a toxic, abusive relationship with a very controlling partner who dictates every decision, including what emotions are acceptable or aren't acceptable. This may explain the lack of empathy that you feel in Erica Kirk's video following Charlie Kirk's passing. I'm not reading that energy as abusive per se, because based off of Erica Kirk's soul contract, she can hold her own. That's not to say that she wasn't in an abusive relationship with Charlie Kirk. It's to say that upon taking a look at her entire contract, it very much feels like Erica planted herself into Charlie's life. She knew exactly what she was doing because at that point, Charlie had already started blowing up a little bit over news, over media. The energy I see behind this relationship is one of intention on her part. The next red flag we see in Erica Kirk's soul contract is the program of avarice. There are 3 programs that I associate with a person being a narcissist. Avarice is one of them. I have yet to find somebody that has all 3, and I'm kind of looking for it. So if you guys want to send me your exes that you think are narcissists or have been diagnosed narcissists, I would love to take a look at their soul contracts, because I'm looking for somebody that has all 3 of these narcissist programs, because I feel like this person would just be a doozy of a human being. So I feel like I've been wanting to do that. I've been wanting to collect soul contracts of narcissists so I can analyze them, do little case studies. I feel like I need to post on that. But sorry, coming back to avarice. So Avarice is the subconscious program of extremes. This is not a person that does anything in the middle. This is a person that is in it to win it, give them nothing or give them everything. They don't do small gestures. They don't regret blowing their paychecks on an unnecessary purchase. They tend to swing either way, either one extreme like stinginess or the other extreme of like spending money like crazy, being very generous with it and just blowing it until you have nothing left. They'd be very good at managing their money in the sense of like, if they're operating from the extreme of stinginess, of like not spending it. But I think I talked about this in my previous episode. Oh my goodness, I think Kendra Lakari had the avarice one where she can be stingy about like the brand of toilet paper, like choosing the cheapest brand of toilet paper, saving money on that, saving a couple extra dollars on that, but then going and like buying a very unnecessary thing. So yes, these people are very black and white thinkers, very extreme. They have a hard time of having any gray area, believing in any gray area. This is the perfect program for cult leaders. This is a good indication of cult leaders because they like to live in the extreme. Either you are wrong or you are right. And if I am right, then you are wrong because you don't believe what I believe. So yeah, that type of deal. One of the 3 indicators of being a narcissist. And the reason that this program works so well for narcissists is because there's little to no wiggle room for them. There's little to no ability to compromise, to understand a different point of view, because they're a person that lives in extremes. The next subconscious program that is running for Erica Kirk is academic knowledge. This is the program of intelligence. This is a person that is very intelligent. This is a person that is a 5, 10, 15-year planner. They have a 5-year plan, they have a 10-year plan, they have a 15-year plan. They're very intentional. They're likely also very organized. And they're able to critically think, able to think logically. But based off of the previous program, it's likely that only within the constraints of their beliefs. The next subconscious program that we see, and if I'm going through them really fast, it's because there's a lot of programs and I want to touch on all of them and how serious or unserious they are. The next program we see is the idealization program. This denotes that Erica Kirk is a very serious person who does not like spontaneity, avoids empty words and promises. She prefers to plan and to act. She's also very family oriented, very sensitive to her family, especially when other people are hurting her family. And she takes it very close to heart when anybody speaks badly about them, when anybody attacks them. It's a person of ideals. They tend to take things too seriously oftentimes. You can see this manifesting in her relationships, as whenever a relationship doesn't feel ideal, doesn't feel absolutely perfect for her, she is the type to run away from it, to just drop it and quit it instead of building a foundation together and overcoming disagreements together. The next program is the comfort program. And this program kind of carries a bit of that micromanager energy again. This is the type of person that likes to make a lot of fuss over doing something the right way, which kind of ties into the idealist program that we just talked about. This person has a hard time of like relaxing and letting things go and being in a state of peace, because one of their founding beliefs is that the hustle and bustle of everyday life is normal. The grind is normal. So she will make a big deal out of something very unnecessary, something very uncomplicated, and find a way to complicate it. The next red flag we see is the overestimation of strength program. When Erica is operating from an aligned space, she has a cushion throughout life that kind of aids her in her transitions between jobs, between relationships. It's kind of like there's always this energy that softens the blow when something doesn't work out, when something falls through, and kind of catches her. and eases that transition. And that happens because she doesn't get too attached when she's aligned to relationships that don't work, to job opportunities that aren't aligned with what she's trying to do. She doesn't get attached to them. If they don't work out, she kind of takes the L and moves on. When she's misaligned, the opposite happens, where she holds very tightly to her relationships, to jobs, to people in her life, believing that this is her last chance. This is her last shot at getting married. This is her last shot at becoming a successful individual. And there's this inability to comprehend that every situation, every encounter she has is more of a stepping stone instead of the final destination where she has to like go big or go home and it's over, you know? In relationships, this manifests as the partner that's always like, oh, you need to change this about yourself and you need to change that. But there's no self reflection going on. There's no self reflection about what they need to change. They're always demanding that the other person changes for them. And this may result in a pairing in a relationship that's very immature between an immature individual or two immature individuals. Next, we see the aggression program. So, when aligned, this is a person that is very calm and gentle on the outside. They are excellent peacemakers. They are really good at resolving conflict and kind of dissipating high conflict situations. When that is manifesting negatively, we have the opposite happen. We have a very aggressive person. We have a person that provokes others, even without intending to do so. And this aggression that they have might become very internalized, very held in to the point that it could start messing with her health, messing with her well being. She may develop immune disorders from this and kind of start having the body attack itself. All right. Are you guys ready for the big one? Because this is what this was like the straw that broke the camel's back with her soul contract. When I saw this subconscious program, it was just over. I was like, okay, I don't need to see anything else. This lady is bad news. I have only ever seen this subconscious program in 3 other individuals. I'm going to list them now. And I'm going to let you guys do with that information what you will. I won't comment further on it. But the individuals that had this program were Hillary Clinton, Ted Bundy, and Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, speaking of him, real fast, I'll comment on Brad Pitt real fast. I know I just said I'm not going to comment on it. Brad Pitt had 2 narcissistic programs. So if you guys were ever on the fence about whether Angelina Jolie and the abuse they endured from him, if there was ever a question in your mind that it happened, let me answer that question for you. It very much likely happened. He has a very, very difficult soul contract chart. It screams red flags. It is not a good time. So this subconscious program is called a confidentiality program. This is the program that you would want in your chart if you decided to be a spy, if you decided to be a government agent, if you needed to keep secrets for the safety, for the sake of other people's lives. This is the program that you would want in your chart. You want somebody that is able to compartmentalize, which is exactly what this subconscious program is. It is somebody that is able to separate their personal life from their work life. They're excellent secret keepers. They are amazing at having secret identities. If you're a politician, if you want to be a good politician, you're going to want to have this in your chart. When this program is running in the negative, this is like a person that starts to lose grip of reality and they can't keep their stories straight. They start to lose track of all of their lies that they have spewed, all of the stories that they have said, and it starts kind of combusting on them. They start to implode on themselves because there's so much that they've been needing to keep to themselves that it starts getting blurred. The lines start getting blurred. and you have a hard time knowing, wait, am I allowed to share this with people, or am I supposed to keep this secret? Or did I already say this to somebody? They start self-combusting. The next program is called expulsion from the system. And the way this immediately popped up for me is kind of the irony of how Charlie Kirk's entire mission revolved a lot around the idea that women shouldn't be in the workplace. They should be rearing the children, doing the laundry, doing the cooking, raising the family. And now Erica Kirk has kind of taken this leadership role in Turning Point USA, which, if you guys are familiar with Christian conservatives, they kind of frown upon women in any position of leadership. I know Charlie Kirk has stated that he wouldn't want a woman president. So Erica Kirk was kind of in this place where she was rejected as a voice within her husband's work. And now she finds herself being the CEO of Turning Point. And I'm very curious as to how they are going to go about addressing that. Or if Turning Point USA is slowly going to collapse because there is a woman in a position of power instead of a man. All right, guys, if you're still with me, there's 2 more subconscious programs to go. One is the Millionaire Program, which is a program of abundance, and the other is called the Special Mission Program. Just like I've seen a trinity when it comes to narcissistic programs, there is a trinity of positive programs, and that is the Special Mission, the Millionaire Program, and the Midas Touch. Special Mission Program is a person that is extremely unique. Their path is extremely unique. This is a trailblazer. This is a way shower, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see if Erica Kirk can manage to align and, instead of sowing discord, division, bring people together, because a Special Mission Program is one that's very, very important to the collective. This program tells me that her incarnation is going to be for the evolvement of consciousness. Compared to Charlie Kirk, her soul contract is jam-packed with some of the most influential and most powerful subconscious programs that a person can have in their soul contract. And it's very alarming to pack that much power and influence into a person who has a tendency of being an extremist. I am going to quote Erica Kirk real fast from the video that she put out after Charlie Kirk's death. "You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. I'll make Turning Point the biggest thing this nation has ever seen. The movement will not die. I refuse to let that happen." I think this is the special mission that her soul contract talks about. And thus far, I've seen special missions to be incredibly powerful and a force for good. So it's very disheartening to see somebody with this program kind of rallying others to battle. My hope is that there is going to be a moment for her where she has an awakening, because there is so much that she can do with her influence. There is so much that she can do with the power that she has. Just the special mission alone speaks a lot to that. And I know I mentioned the Millionaire Program, but I didn't really go into it, so I'm going to touch on it very briefly. The Millionaire Program is a program of abundance. It means that at some point in your life, you're going to come into a large amount of money, be it from the lottery, be it from luck, be it from an inheritance, be it from a successful business. You're going to come into a lot of money. And that's already happened for Erica Kirk. I hope that this gives you guys an understanding of what Erica Kirk is working with, what the energy in her chart is like, and how alarming it is. My hope is that it gives you guys a good enough idea of the power that is packed behind Erica Kirk, her public persona, I've said this on my threads. Charlie Kirk's soul contract compared to this is child's play. He is playing in the kiddie pool. Erica Kirk is not going to be going away anytime soon, and I do feel like she's going to be the face of this movement for a while. I have tried to be as PC as I possibly can throughout this episode. I feel like that is always such a difficult tightrope to walk because on a karmic level, we do have responsibility to use our voices to take a stand against injustice, against discrimination, against genocide. And something I always struggle with is like, is it my place? Am I the right person to talk about this? And I think the answer is you're a human, aren't you? You're a part of this experience, aren't you? If you were in somebody else's shoes, wouldn't you want somebody advocating for you? Wouldn't you want somebody standing up for you? This reminds me of a quote by I don't know who. All right, here we go. I found the quote that I wanted to quote so I wouldn't brutally misquote it, and I found this on the Holocaust Encyclopedia. The quote goes like this: "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." I am going to leave you guys with that. This has turned into somewhat of a depressing episode. Man, I told you guys I really did not like the look of her chart. I don't like what she is putting out. But this checks out with our favorite astrologer, Gabby, from Aqua Astrology and the Spiritual Sisters podcast. It checks out with what she was predicting for the year of 2026 and the astrology for that year, because it is very similar to the astrology of civil war. And being that there's already so much civil unrest with everything that has been happening, we may see that come to fruition. That was Erica Kirk's chart. That is all I have to say about it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you wanted to get your own soul contract done, feel free to go to my website at thesoulecosystem.com or my Etsy shop, The Soul Ecosystem, to get your soul contract. Be ready to feel very naked, very exposed, like your whole entire life is out on a sheet of paper, because soul contracts do get insanely detailed, especially when I have your permission to go into your Akashic records and see for myself the energy that is going on there. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate your support. Tune in every Friday for an episode of The Soul Ecosystem, where we dive into celeb soul contract, historical figures, and occasionally get some monthly readings, monthly predictions. You guys have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend.